English Fairy Tales Collected by Joseph Jacobs is a publication of the Pennsylvania State University. This portable document file is furnished free and without any charge of any kind. Any person using this document file, for any purpose, and in any way does so at his or her own risk. Neither the Pennsylvania State University nor Jim Mannis, faculty editor, nor anyone associated with the Pennsylvania State University assumes any responsibility for the material contained within the document, or for the file as an electronic transmission, in any way. English Fairy Tales Collected by Joseph Jacobs, the Pennsylvania State University Electronic Classics Series, Jim Mannis, faculty editor, Hazleton, Pennsylvania 18202, is a portable document file produced as part of an ongoing student publication project to bring classical works of literature in English to free and easy access of those wishing to make use of them. WHO says that English folk have no fairy tales of their own. The present volume contains only a selection out of SOME 140, of which I have found traces in this country. It is probable that many more exist. A quarter of the tales in this volume have been collected during the last 10 years or so, and some of them have not been hitherto published. Up to 1870 it was equally said of France and of Italy that they possessed no folk tales. Yet, within 15 years from that date, over 1,000 tales had been collected in each country. I am hoping that the present volume may lead to equal activity in this country, and will earnestly beg any reader of this book who knows of similar tales, to communicate them, written down as they are told, to me, care of Mr. Nutt. The only reason, I imagine, why such tales have not hitherto been brought to light, is the lamentable gap between the governing and recording classes and the dumb working classes of this country, dumb to others, but eloquent among themselves. It would be no unpatriotic to ask to help to bridge over this gulf, by giving a collections for other European countries, are what the folklorists called rolls. They serve to justify the title of Merryingland, which used to be given to this country of ours, and indicate unsuspected capacity for fun and humor among the unlettered classes. The story of Tom Tit Tot, which appends a collection, is unequaled among all other folk tales I am acquainted with, for its combined sense of humor and dramatic power. The first adjective of our title also needs a similar extension of its meaning. I have acted on Molière's principle, and have taken what was good wherever I could find it. Thus, a couple of these stories have been found among descendants of English immigrants in America. A couple of others I tell R.C. heard them myself in my youth in Australia. One of Thebest was taken down from the mouth of an English gypsy. I have also included some stories that have only been found in Lowland Scotch. I have felt justified in doing this, as of the 21 folk tales contained in Chambers' Popular Rhymes of Scotland, no less than 16 are also to be found in an English form. With a folk tale, as with the ballad, Lowland Scotch may be regarded as simply a dialect of N-, and it is a mere chance whether a tale is extant in only or other, or both. I have also rescued and retold a few fairy tales that only exist nowadays in the form of ballads. There are certain indications that the common form of the English fairy tale was the Cante fable, a mixture of narrative and verse, of which the most illustrious example in literature is Aucassin et Nicolette. In one case I have endeavoured to retain this form, as the tale in which it occurs, Childe Roland, is mentioned by Shakespeare in King Lear, and is probably, as I have shown, the source of Milton's Comus. Late as they have been collected, some dozen of the tales can be traced back to the 16th century, 2 of them being quoted by Shakespeare himself. In the majority of instances I have had largely to rewrite these fairy tales, especially those in dialect, including the Lowland Scotch. Star Children, and sometimes those of larger growth, will not read dialect. I have also had to reduce the flatulent phraseology of the 18th century chapbooks, and to rewrite in simpler style the stories only extant in literary English. I have, however, left a few vulgarisms in the mouths of vulgar people. Children appreciate the dramatic propriety of this as much as their elders. Generally speaking, it has been my ambition to write as a good oldness will speak when she tells fairy tales. I am doubtful as to my success in catching the colloquial romantic tone appropriate for such narratives, but the thing had to be done, or else my main object, to give a book of English fairy tales which English children will listen to, would have been unachieved. This book is meant to be read aloud, and not merely taken in by the eye. In a few instances I have introduced or changed an incident. I have never done so, however, without mentioning the fact in the notes. These have been relegated to the obscurity of small print and a back place, while the little Onish have been, perhaps unnecessarily, warned off them. They indicate my sources and give a few references to parallels and variants, which may be of interest to fellow students of